The recording is in progress, so I guess we are live. Welcome everyone to the legendary webinar session with Meiro CDP. Hello to everyone around the world. My name is Karel and I'm solution consultant with Meiro. And today, Jiří, well, which is actually a very difficult name to pronounce, you can try later. So Jiří will join me for this session, and Jiří is our product manager. And together, we will try to give you an insight into Journey Canvas, which is a great tool in Meiro CDP to create multi-step, multi-channel journeys, and also to give you some insights on how to use this awesome tool to create the best journeys for your clients with the best activations and how to leverage the data that you actually have in CDP or that you should have in CDP if you don't already have it. So now, first organization thanks. Feel free to put your questions into the chat and we will be happy to collect those questions at the end of the session and answer. And you can test the chat right now if you want to and tell us where you are logging in from. We'll be happy to see all the places around the globe that you guys are joining from. And with that, I will hand over to Jiří, who will take you through the journey canvas.
Cool. Karel, thank you for the intro. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. As Karel said, my name is Jiří, but I make it simpler for foreign people and call myself Jiří. And I'm a product manager at Meiro. And today with Karel, I'm not sure if you mentioned your position, but you are our seasoned consultant. We will guide you through this webinar. So when I was thinking how to kick off this session, it led me to start with a question we often ask our potential clients. And the question is if they are like truly orchestrating seamless, personalized journeys, or if it sometimes, or if it like does feel more like managing disconnected campaigns. And the common answer is that we are moving forward with automation, but data silos and in advancing our automation maturity is one of the major hurdles that they are experiencing. So your customers experience your brand as one continuous conversation, but sort of like behind the scenes, we are often juggling different tools, creating a fragmented experience, and all while navigating in data privacy landscape and regulations. So this is the gap we are here today to close. And today is about orchestration and inspiring you to craft better customer experiences. So briefly on the agenda, we will introduce the Meiro Journey Canvas and how it works. Then we will showcase and advance the customer onboarding journey. And my colleague Karel will also share some more practical tips and use cases how to craft the advanced journeys. So let's dive into the journey canvas. So how do we move from like sending campaigns to orchestrating through journey? So our journey canvas is an orchestration layer powered by like unified first CDP data, first party CDP data. And, we designed the journey canvas like to solve, I would say, three main challenges. First one is the gap between strategy and execution. So getting like great ideas like built can be slow and technical, and our visual no-code canvas puts like marketers back in control instead of like reaching technical teams to create even like a basic sequences. Second, I would say is the speed gap. So, your customers act in real time and expect also instant responses. And our canvas is like designed to listen to real-time signals. So it can be a page view, it can be like a form submission, even some predictive insights we will talk later that are for engagement of customers in the moment. And the third point I would say is the cross-channel gap. So customers move seamlessly between your application, websites, email channels, any other channel you can name it. And we enable you to build a single journey that spans all across like the channels for a consistent connected experience. So let's start with a quick overview how our journey canvas operates. First is the starting point. So it means getting users into journey automation. In Meiro, a customer journey can begin with like one of two primary ways. The first one is on event entry. So this is a real-time trigger, right? So a customer takes a specific action. For example, they submit a form, they view a product, they log in to the app for the first time, and instantly they enter the journey you've designed it for that moment. The second option is on segment activation. So this is audience-based approach, I would say. So you can build a segment of customers, for example, high-value customers who haven't purchased for some time, like for 2 months or even more, and have them re-enter like re-engage or enter like a re-engagement journey on a set schedule. So this is a perfect for strategic campaigns that target specific customer groups that you want to activate. By the way, quick tip here, like creating segments in our platform is with AI now easier than ever, I would say. So we've built a segmentation AI agent that will craft your audience just by simple word definition. So I recommend you guys to check our previous webinar about AI features we have recently introduced. And I would say it's kind of impressive how AI can optimize the whole operational flow. So I believe that we will include into the email into the summary of this webinar after the end of the session. We will follow up also with this suggestion to check our AI webinar. So now back to Journey Canvas. Let's look at the building blocks that you will use to design these journeys. So yeah, designing elements, time nodes. Timing is everything in marketing, I would say. So this is where the time nodes come in. The wait node is simple but crucial. It pauses a journey for minutes, hours, or days to avoid like overwhelming customers with unnecessary communication. So for example, sending a welcome email instantly, then wait a day or more before sending product recommendations. The wait for time slot node adds another layer of intelligence in this area. So it ensures that messages are delivered at the optimal times. So you can specify that an email can only be sent during like business hours, say 9 to 5 on weekdays, which can dramatically boost engagement rates as well. So again, this is a crucial element in optimization of your journeys. I think it's clear, and let's continue. So conditions and splits. This is, I would say, where the magic sort of like of true personalization happens. So conditioning and branching allows you to create unique paths for different customers within the same journey. So with the condition node, you can split the journey based on any data point you have about a user. something like, have they made a purchase before? Have they been part of your loyalty program somehow? Did they view a specific product category? So, based on the answer, generally, you can send them down a completely different path with more relevant messaging. And there is also A/B split node, and this is your key, I would say, into data-driven optimization. So it lets you test like different approaches to see what works best. You can split your audience into, for example, 5 paths, and by measuring the results, you can definitely know which channel drives better outcome and optimize your future campaigns accordingly. Okay, moving on. So once you define like the logic of your journey, how profiles and users will be split and derived, it's time to communicate. So Journey Canvas supports a wide array of Meiro internal channels to reach your customers wherever they are. So you can set email campaign, mobile push notification, or even WhatsApp message directly from the canvas. But it doesn't stop there. We know that your marketing ecosystem is broader than just messaging channels. So that's why we have also connectors to external destinations. So you can add a customer to Facebook, custom audience for retargeting, for example, or send data to Google Analytics to enrich your reporting. And I would say that we have a bunch of out-of-box connections to edge tech, to external marketing automation platforms such as Klaviyo, emailing platforms, or CRMs, and many others. So you have like the flexibility in where you can send the users at outside our ecosystem as well. And webhooks, yeah, this is a bit for more technical specialists in the audience, and for anyone who wants like ultimate flexibility. I would say let's talk about webhooks. So in simple terms, a webhook is a way to send information from Meiro to almost like any other platform in real time. So imagine you have a customer that gives you like a low satisfaction score on survey. We collect that from a pop-up banner, and you can use a webhook to automatically create a support ticket in your Zendesk system or Salesforce platform or whatever customer care platform you are using and has like a webhook connection as well. So afterwards, you can assign it to a customer service agent for follow-up, and you could connect like your internal systems to create or like credit loyalty points, etc. The possibilities are almost like endless. So webhooks are kind of the bridge that connects your customer journey orchestration in Meiro to your entire business technology stack. And it enables you to automate not just marketing, but a wide range of customer-oriented, or better expression could be customer-centric processes. So theory and the features are good, but how does that look like in practice, and what results, what performance it can drive? So we've prepared like for you a case study or showcase or an example of the onboarding journey concept that we've applied to our client. So let's walk you through a real world onboarding journey for an e-commerce client. But the concept of onboarding journey is, I would say, pretty much applicable to every other industry as well. So their primary goal was to increase revenue by effectively converting new newsletter subscribers into the first purchase customers. So they had like a rich data available in Meiro, obviously like tracking all these transactions, real-time page views and product views, and even a set of some predictive algorithms. So one example is predicted like can be like a prediction of a gender, or let's say a prediction of of like a recommendation, what would be the best suitable product for you after some engagement for anonymous, even for like anonymous visitors based on their browsing behavior and what products they looked at and engaged with, for example. So like this is the initial state, and I will show you concept of journey we've replicated into our demo instance and walk you through that. So let me switch into Meiro platform right now. And now you should see my screen from Meiro platform, and let me walk you through this onboarding journey. So as I mentioned, the goal here is simple: to convert a brand new subscribers into like happy first time customers, I would say. So this journey has like 4 main layers: real-time welcome, behavioral splits based on user actions, like personalized content for each path, and finally multi-channel activation to drive conversion. So let's break it down step by step, and let me walk you through the journey. So everything starts with the trigger. Our journey kicks off the very instant a user subscribe on our website. So we are using the contact form submitted event, which populates email addresses and potentially other contacts such as location, or it can be phone number, or something else as well. But before we send anything, we do a quick check after subscribing to the newsletter. So this is like the first condition node that verifies that we have like a known consented email addresses for this user. So we are checking the attribute latest email with consent. So this is like a simple but vital step for ensuring deliverability and also regulations if needed, for example, GDPR. Once consent is confirmed, we go through this branch and we send our first email. So it's like onboarding sequence number 1, and let's take a look at the creative. So now we are looking at our email channel editor and preview of the email. So you see we've kept like the design of the email clean and simple, but the magic here is in the personalization. I have highlighted like boxes where the personalization is applied with orange border, so it's better visible for you. And starting with the name if it's known, and we can go even like deeper with the personalization. So down here in discover our bestseller section, you can put the most like free purchased items in a specific desired period. For example, it can be week or month, for example, and start with this simple personalization. In the blog suggestion just for you, we can use predictive attributes, something as likely interested to show a relevant product that's like calculated based on the user engagement, or like put their neutral backup product like these like flip-flops. So I just wanted to highlight that it demonstrates how you can move beyond basic personalization to even like one-to-one recommendation from the very first email. Now let's get back to journey design. So, continuing in the journey, there is a wait node. So, and after like giving our new subscriber, some breathing air, some breathing room with like 2-day wait, we arrive at the intelligent part of our journey, the behavior condition. So here, when I open it, we are sort of like asking a simple branching question. So what has like this person actually done since they've signed up? So this condition checks 2 things. First, has the user viewed any products? And second, have they not made a purchase in the last 2 days? So this is like important. So we don't target people who already made the purchase. So based on their behavior, the journey now splits into two distinct paths. So this ensures we are not sending a generic message to anyone. We are tailoring like the conversation based on their level of engagement. And let's look at the creatives for each path. So for subscribers who has been browsing, and view some product, we send this high intent nudge email. And again, look at the personalization. We greet user by name, and more importantly, we dynamically populate the email with like the exact items that they were looking at. So this is like powered by our all products viewed attribute in Meiro. And I would say this is like incredibly relevant because it feels less like a mass marketing and more like a helpful reminder. So those are the products that the user can see in their email if they viewed them before. So the question is, what about the subscriber who hasn't browsed it? So for them, we send this inspirational nudge. The goal here is to sell the brand and inspire discovery in them. So we highlight our value propositions and pick our core bestsellers. And even though this user hasn't browsed, we can still make the email feel more personal. So look at the line with fast delivery and location personalization. I would say this is like a fantastic showcase of enrichment and putting that into automation. You can collect the user's location from their sign up. I think that I mentioned that, or throughout an engagement part, you can collect any zero party data and set up sourcing for them, and we can use that afterwards. For example, in this kind of communication. And right below, we are giving the customer also, the clear reasons to opt in into real-time nudges. We are via mobile push notifications, or it can be also WhatsApp updates. So for order alerts and tips. And I would say this is like a brilliant strategy using your email to build your audience on sort of higher engagement channels such as push notifications or even WhatsApp. Now, getting back to the journey, we are moving forward to the destinations. So after sending the second email, at the same time, this journey automatically sends this audience segment to both like Facebook and Google Ads. So this means the user will see a consistent offer, not just in their inbox, but also in their social feeds and across the web and advertising in Google advertising ecosystem. So what's next? What about the resilient subscribers who still haven't made a purchase? I would say that we shouldn't be giving up on them just yet. And this is like where we initiate the last part of the journey. So after another 4-day wait, to avoid message fatigue, we run our most sophisticated condition check yet. So we are now filtering for an audience that has opened our previous email and hasn't made a purchase still, right? The second condition, moving there, if we haven't won them yet on the email, we will try WhatsApp here. So we are going to check if their channel consent is there, and if we can reach them on this platform, so on the WhatsApp. So condition number one, for the group of users who haven't opted into WhatsApp, we will stick with the email, and we are running a 50% A/B split. So to test what incentive can get better results. Version A gets like offering with 15% of their first order discount, and version B receives an alternative offer, free delivery on their first order. So again, we are using that same depersonalization as you saw in those previous emails. So I just want to quickly show you how the WhatsApp campaign looks like, because we haven't seen the environment just yet. So now for the subscribers who have given us the WhatsApp consent, we can create a premium cross-channel experience, I would say. So let's look at the preview. And again, we have like a personalization attributes involved. It can be a name, recommended products, and personalization, personalized discount code that can the person copy and apply within the checkout. So let's go back to the journey overview. This is it. So like with that, our smart onboarding journey is complete. We have taken a user from like a simple sign up and guided them through a responsive multipath and multi-channel experience. And the last piece of this is to look at the results it can bring for you. So I will go back to the presentation. Yes, okay, we are here. So we've implemented this similar concept of onboarding journey to our client, and our client saw these results. 27% lift in the first purchase conversions, and not just like more subscribers were buying, but they were also spending more. So there was also 8% lift in average order value. And the content was relevant for them, so it drove also like significant relative lift in CTR, click-through rate. And what was important also, that the unsubscribe rate remained stable. So we know that we are not pushing users to unsubscribe from the communication, and it indicates that it is relevant for them. So what were the three main pillars of this journey? I would say definitely deep personalization, using detailed conditioning and sequencing, and at the end we started optimizing through A/B testing. So as well, like the advertising spend was more effective by exporting more relevant audiences to the ad platforms. Okay, so this is how the onboarding journey driving results can look like. And now I would like to hand over to Karel, and he will share his thoughts about other use cases and more practical tips how to craft other journeys. Karel, over to you.
Thanks very much, Izzy. I'm not sure if I will be more practical than your demo, because that was very practical. Basically, I think now all the guys are able to work with Meiro Journey Canvas like experts. So thank you very much. And I have also noticed we have first question in the Q&As. We will get back to this question later on. And it's about the size of the audiences exported to Meta and Google. So I will make sure that we get back to that question at the end of the session. And also, guys, if you have any other questions, please put them into Q&A or into the chat. We'll get back to those later. So hopefully I'm sharing my screen now. That's the most difficult part of the webinar, to change the sharing. And I will have a look at some of the use cases that could be actually relevant to Journey Canvas. And more than going into the details of Journey Canvas, I will have a look at the connection between attributes like client data and predictive attributes, and also data events that can be used either to trigger the journey or to actually be used as a condition within the journey. So one of the basic predictive attributes that most companies are interested in is the churn risk scoring. We can have that attribute as out of the box. We can also heavily customize it to correspond with your business processes and with your audience. But once we have it established, let's say that there is this predictive attribute churn risk, and it's in, let's say, bands. So we would have low, medium, high, just to keep it simple, right? And once the churn risk turns into high for a specific profile, we can use the sequence, just as Yuri has shown you in the journey, and send them, for example, a personalized retention email. Now, the selection of the channels obviously depends on the preferences of your clients, and it may be very much different in different geographies. So if email works for your clients, start with email because it's cheap channel, it still works. Send a personalized email, then monitor for the response. And if the profile, if the client is not opening, is not responding to the email within 48 hours, trigger another channel. Still no conversion, push to paid ads. So you can see the sequence from, let's say, free or very low cost channels to the paid ads to catch the attention of the client who might be in high risk of churn. Cart openers versus cart filler journeys. Now, this is especially important for retails, but might also be relevant for any other industry, such as BFSI, even travel, and so on. And basically, we distinguish between the products that motivate the clients to actually start the conversion, start the purchase. Usually it's the first product that they put in the basket or in the cart. May not be, but usually it is. And then we might also be looking at the structure of the cart to identify what are the fillers or upsells and cross-sells. So the first thing that we might actually do with the cart opener is to immediately segment this profile to put it into the segment eligible for display of the web banner. Now, the web banner may not be displayed immediately, but it could be either part of the same session or the profile stays in this segment for their next session. And we sort of connect it also to abandoned cart use case where we are checking whether the checkout of the basket actually happens within a specified period of time, let's say 1 hour. If not, we might be again sending personalized outreach through the preferred channel. Still no purchase after 24 hours in this example, so retarget the users via paid ads like Google Ads, Conversion API, and so on. So this again helps you to keep the clients in the loop and to remind them that they still have something in the basket. And it also greatly personalizes the specific product that was the initial motivation for them to actually start the conversion journey. Loyalty growth journeys. Again, something that every brand wants to focus on because obviously we want to keep the clients purchasing and purchasing again and again if possible. So we would be looking, for example, at rather simple attributes such as next expected purchase date. And the next expected purchase date can either be based on repeated purchases of a particular profile client, or it can be a generic one based on the patterns that are similar to the entire cohort of those clients, right? So again, might connect us back to either previous purchases or even to visits of the product. So maybe it's an anonymous profile who has not purchased anything before, but we know their behavior and we know what products they might be interested in, right? So even for those cases, we might be able to actually come up with the next expected purchase date. Let's say that this profile is also within our VIP segment or high profile clients. So what do? We send them some exclusive offer. Might be early access, might be some special promotion, might be bundled products, and so on. If engaged, add them into WhatsApp broadcast group or send them personalized WhatsApp message with some exclusive content. They are special, so just make them feel special, right? After the purchase, obviously we want to thank them, so we might be triggering thank you survey. That may not be native part of Meiro. It could be, but doesn't necessarily need to be. We can connect third-party services. And we can also later evaluate the response directly in Meiro, and that still can be part of the journey. So for positive responders, push them into referral campaigns, use them as advocates of your brand or of your products, and get even more value out of those profiles. Now, I have also included one use case that might be quite specific to travel industry, but still it's quite similar to what we've been discussing before, and that next expected purchase. In this case, it might be next expected booking. Well, this is actually relevant not only to travel, it might be also to any kind of services based on appointments and so on. So we are again looking at a predictive attribute, next expected date, and when it's overdue and also the profile is again in high profile segment, we send them personalized message. We would include them into the segment for in-app or for website banners, depending on the preferred activation channel. And also, it's important. Look, this profile is actually within high profile segment. So we can use that type of profiles to create seed audience in the ads systems, Meta, Google, you name it, and use it to create look-alikes in Meta. Now, we can create look-alike audiences directly in Meiro. Those are creating using the profiles that we already have in the database. But the seed audience allows you to actually get more relevant leads out of the ad platforms based on your high quality audience, right? Next one, source-based nurture journeys. We are able to identify the source of the visit. So there might be actually a huge difference in behavior and in conversion potential depending on the acquisition source. So that would be our main attribute, acquisition source. Let's say it's meta ads. And then there would be a attribute scoring the quality of the lead, depending, for example, on the initial behavior on your website. How deep do they go in products pages? How much time do they spend on the website? Do they go for other products than just those that were advertised on Meta? Combining those two attributes, we can actually split the journey through the activations for those profiles, and we can do it already in a session while they are on your website. So depending on the acquisition source, they might see different personalized web banners. They might actually see different parts of the website, such as if they are coming in from social media, they might see testimonials of other users. If they are organic visit, they could see some discounts or whatever might move them towards conversion. So be mindful of the acquisition source. And cross-sell, upsell journeys, those could be highly related to propensities to buy certain category of products. In our case, we are creating an attribute called propensity to buy accessories, right? So again, this is related to acquisition source. It could be related to cart opener product and so on. And based on those, we would be calculating the propensity score for upsells and cross sells. You can also immediately start the activation while they are still on the website with the pop-ups, or as in this case, we can run a post-purchase journey with starting with thank you email, and already in this thank you email after the purchase, there would be recommendations of top 3 accessories based on their purchase. If there is no click, follow with the journey through different channels. There is, I think, one important piece of this journey. If there is still no purchase, put them into suppression audience, right? So you don't want to be wasting your ads budget on people with very low conversion potential, right? And in the first 2 steps, you had tried to upsell, cross-sell those profiles. They are not responding to your offers. Put them aside for a while from the paid ads. Of course, you can include them into the paid ads audience later if there is any activity or based on time schedule. All right. I have put in so many use cases. Well, let's go through this one as well, and it's lifecycle nurture journey. Those could be examples of long time running activations. So this activation or automation, you set it up once and then you let it run for a long time. In this particular case, we would be actually in this journey checking or running multiple parallel triggers. So if the client is in very initial stage of their life cycle, we would be running welcome email sequence. Still can be part of one journey, or we can create sequence of journeys like a meta journey that would be evaluating the life cycle and then the sub journeys that would be related to it. That's the welcome email, then post-purchase onboarding, loyalty growth, that's within retention. And if they are churning or they left the service, we can try reactivation attempts. Of course, to each of those life cycle stages, there are related attributes that would indicate it. Very similar are the journeys related to frequency analysis of the visits or purchases. So again, we would be calculating a complete RFM score, and based on the values of the individual recency, frequency, and monetary value, we might be running different journeys. And I'm aware of going through the slides quite quickly, but don't worry if you want to, we will be sending this slide deck out to you so you can read through those later on your own pace. Seasonal and anniversary triggers. Happy birthday. Everybody loves happy birthday vouchers, but it doesn't necessarily need to be just the happy birthday. It can be anniversary message like it's been 1 year since your first booking with us, or it's been 1 year since you bought your awesome new car, bike, you name it, right? Why don't you buy something else and make yourself happy again, the same as 1 year ago? So again, those would be quite simple triggers. You can see the profile attributes like birthday and first purchase date. So very easy to use within the journeys. Customer health monitoring journeys. Again, very much related to client lifecycle, and we are mostly monitoring churn risk. We are also monitoring either historical or predicted customer lifetime value and attributes such as next expected purchase or any other predictive attributes that might indicate opportunity for activation, reactivation, and retargeting of the clients. All right. And that's actually my last use case. I definitely hope those use cases were useful and you might have found some inspiration in those. I will stop the sharing and let me have a look in the questions. So I have promised we will get back to the audience size. How big are the audiences that you are sending to Meta? How often do you export them? And how do you work with them in Meta? And we all know that consultants are actually prohibited to answer to questions like those with the answer, it depends. Sorry, it really depends. Now, let's split the audiences into two basic categories, right? Anonymous and identified users. Anonymous audiences, those could be quite big audiences. We are talking probably thousands, even tens of thousands of profiles that need to be exported if they are purely anonymous. What do we mean by this? We only have their Facebook or Google IDs. All right. And why do we need to export such a huge number? Because of low match rate. Match rate for anonymous audience is somewhere between 2 to 5%. And there is actually not much that can be done about it, right? Because that's the match rate on the Meta and Google side. We can increase the probability or the match rate by actually aggregating several Facebook and Google IDs of the same profile together, even if they are anonymous. So we would be increasing a little bit the match rate. The more interesting audience, obviously, are the identified clients because we have full profile details such as name, email address, phone number, mobile ID, and so on. And the match rate for the identified audience is anywhere between 60 to 80%. So we could be exporting much lower audiences with the identified profiles to actually get over the threshold for the minimum available size of the audience for Meta. Now, how do we work with those in Meta? Again, depends on the type of the audience. With the fully identified ones, it's easier to use that kind of audience for either as a seed audience and create look-alike audience based on this seed in Meta, or use it directly for personalized campaigns. So if we know that this particular profile or set of profiles were interested in specific product or were interested in specific content on our website, we would export them to dedicated audience in Meta. And to this audience, we would connect personalized campaigns focusing on that content or products. All right. There are,
Maybe I would, Carla, maybe I would
go
add
ahead.
one more typical use case regarding like retargeting campaigns that are, based on user behavior or some life cycle stage and usage that in Facebook advertising. What our clients also typically use is the exclusion list to suppress the existing, customers from acquisition campaigns, typically, because it helps to optimize spending and save some money on targeting people who are actually not relevant for you. And when we look like strictly at the limit of like the audience size that you can export to Facebook, I think that like down limit is like a minimum is 100 people or profiles that you can export to Facebook, and upper limit has sort of like no limit so far. We haven't experienced that we would overcome this number. And export frequency, I think that typical schedules range from like daily to weekly schedules, depending on the freshness needs for campaigns targeting. But the most typical one, I would say, is like on a daily basis, exports and actualization of the audience with that.
Mhm. All right. And again, there are quite advanced techniques that can be used related to products, optimization of PMAX for Google and so on, content networks and so on. But the basics are distinguishing between anonymous and identified profiles and going for specific audiences. Now, I will jump to Andre's question. Is there going to be a masterclass on predictive triggers setup and configuration or documentation? Is there a preset available within integration module? Very good question. With most of the predictive attributes, my recommendation would be to start with either some that we have out of the box or with heuristic rules. So, for example, start with simple classification of the users based on their actions. Can be page views, can be events such as starting a web form, abandoning, and so on. But definitely a good idea to put together a masterclass on the predictive triggers and the attributes. Presets available in integration module. Yes, in form of Python scripts or SQL scripts or anything else that could be part of the integration module. I'm not aware of any out-of-the-box presets, but I can check with my colleagues. How does the recommendation setup and rendering work in Meiro? Two ways. First, we can use our native recommendation module, or we can use third-party services depending on what you already have. Using our own recommendation module basically takes the either product feed or any information that we have about the products, and based either on purchase or view history or behavior of the client, we can calculate the recommended attributes or basically filling in the product recommendation into profile attributes. Depending again on what the business process should be, sometimes we are recommending purely based on mechanisms such as customers who purchased the product that you are viewing also purchased the next three, or there can be set of rules based on which we would recommend the product. Again, we can go through this on individual level or create some kind of masterclass for it. I really love the question from David here. How can we design a customer journey that not only meets functional needs, but emotionally resonates so deeply that it turns passive users into passionate advocates? David, that's a $1 million question, to be honest. But obviously, we can increase the probability of turning the customers into advocates or into simply converting customers by personalization. And I believe that if the product is great or the services are great, and we are also in communication targeting relevant products or services to the client, then we increase the probability of turning them into passionate advocates or converting customers, right? So everything needs really to click together. The product needs to be awesome. The communication needs to be great. And basically, I would say that we need to over exceed the expectation. And the expectation is usually really high at the beginning of the journey with most of the products and services. So hopefully, Meiro CDP and data-related marketing can be a great part of creating strong brands and communication. All right. And the last question from Shalini, what level of personalization can be applied in real-time orchestration? Can we combine behavioral triggers with predictive scoring and refined targeting? Absolutely, absolutely. And as Yuri demonstrated, the journey can start based on a real-time event, right? And by real time, we really mean within milliseconds. So once the person visits a specific product, specific subpage on your website, that could be the trigger or when they submit a web form or they do not finish the web form. That can be the trigger. And based on either behavioral signals, such as what kind of products they visited, what was the acquisition source, and so on, that's already the information that we have about the client, even if they are anonymous, right? So use it for personalization. And then based on the available channels that you have for this particular profile, use the personalization to increase the probability of their conversion. So if the only information detail or contact detail that you have about a client is that they are currently on your website, they are still in a session, just display a pop-up banner, right? Or try to retarget them on social media. But that's moving us a little bit from the real-time orchestration. All right, guys, I hope we answered your questions, and I definitely hope that this session was useful and you took some inspiration from it. Iri, thank you very much for all the details about Journey Canvas, and I will be happy if you join us in some of the next webinars and sessions. All right, see you next time.